y'all, it's Laura. Welcome back to my channel. I'm so excited. Kino is back. I feel like he never leaves because he's always on Instagram and he's always doing things. But at the same time, I'm ready for a comeback. And I'm so excited for him because I saw that he's touring and all of that good stuff. So I'm very excited for Kino. This is Club, Sex, and Cigarettes. Oh, I'm so interested. Let's get started.
I love club, sex, cigarettes. Hate this work and Chardonnays. Club, sex,
Same thing over and over again.
hate this work and Chardonnays. I love club, sex, cigarettes. Hate this work and Chardonnays. I love club, sex,
Oh my
cigarettes.
gosh.
Hate this work and Chardonnays. Go keep your mask. I'll be ditching mine. 맞추다 남은 건 약봉 to and pain. Not calling in, not showing up. Fuck the 고상 약속.
Ooh, good use of silence. I really loved the guitar that was happening in the beginning. Ooh.
Club, sex, cigarettes. Hate this work and Chardonnays. Club, sex, cigarettes. Hate this work and Chardonnays. I love club, sex, cigarettes. Hate this work and Chardonnays. I love club, sex, cigarettes. Hate this work and Chardonnays. Can you stay extra late? No, I got a meeting in here right now. I'm getting really tired. I don't care if I get fired. I just wanna have a life.
Ooh.
Shit, I'm drunk, trying to go. Fuck the goose and I love club, sex, cigarettes. Hate this work and Chardonnays. Club, sex, cigarettes. Hate this work and Chardonnays. I love club, sex, cigarettes. Hate this work and Chardonnays. I love club, sex, cigarettes. Hate this work and Chardonnays. Can you stay next to me? 제발 그만 좀 괴롭혀. I just wanna have a life.
Okay, first and foremost, love the guitar beat. So good, really interesting, really enjoyed that part. Second, I feel like this is like such a interesting song to go against like the monotony of work. You know, I think what a lot of people are realizing in this day and age is that while working and working hard is important, at the same time you need to have your own life. And you need to have something, you need to have a life that is away from your job. Of course, if you find something that your job and you absolutely love it and that's like amazing and you really love that. But there's a lot of people who, you know, they just go, they get a 9 to 5. It's to make the money to pay their bills. And it's kind of this monotonous life, right? And, you know, kind of in the office scenes, it felt like it was showing, you know, that especially with the stamp, the going over and over again, how that when you get kind of into that rhythm, that can be really like stressful. It can be really boring for yourself, like to not challenge your mind or not do anything. And unfortunately, a lot of people, they have to stay in these kind of jobs, you know, to make a living. They have to have, you know, insurance, and they have to have, you know, all these kind of things. So I feel like this is like talking, like trying to go against that and remind you, like, you can't like, you know, obviously in the song, Kino was referencing, you know, club, sex, and cigarettes as like things that he liked, but like you could replace that with anything, right? That's more of like, to me, I feel like that's kind of like a shock value, rather than necessarily being part of like what he's actually trying to say. For me, I think it's like you could insert any of that of like, I like this, and this, you know, and you know, reminding yourself, like, you don't, and especially like with the interactions with the other office staff, I thought that was so interesting. Like, they were taking pictures of him at certain points, and also like just communicate, like they were communicating like secretly and that kind of thing. I thought that was a really interesting like tone to take on, as far as like I said, having a life outside of your job. And I feel like unfortunately people get really stuck in because they kind of have to, like monetarily, especially, you know, like I saw this in Korea like all the time, and even myself, I dealt with it a little bit, like working so hard, like working 16 to 18 hour days. And I see that people in America too doing that kind of work as well, and you know, just getting stuck in their job. And I, you know, in just talking to my friends who are working in other places, like that's just what it seems like, it's what you have to do nowadays, where you know, everything is so much more expensive and it's so much harder to like make a living. So sometimes you get stuck in like a job and it's not necessarily what you want to do for the rest of your life, and that makes it really difficult and really hard. And so I loved that, like, he was kind of, you know, talking about this, and it really relates to like just your regular people. So I feel like I also loved how he like was, they called, "Can you stay late?" And Kino's like, "No." I felt like that was great. Also, standing up for yourself, I think, is really important. And I think especially people from my generation, we tend to be people pleasers, and we tend to, you know, that's something that I really admire, like especially Gen Z coming in, and even like Gen Alpha's now starting, some of them are starting to get to the workforce. Is that they are better about creating time for themselves, whereas like I feel like the older generations were not as great at doing that, of being like, no, we need that separate time for like our mental health. We need that time just to have fun with our friends. You know, working hard is not a bad thing, don't get me wrong, because I think that's very important, but it's also important to keep track of like yourself and your happiness as well, and be separated from your work. So I think that's really important, and I think that Kino showing that in such a positive, like in such a interesting way, is really, really good. I really enjoyed this. Like I said, the guitar was probably my favorite part of this whole thing, and Kino is such an incredible composer. I remember some of the first things that he wrote in Pentagon, and just being like, oh, Kino, I love it. I love it. One of my favorite songs from him is Off-Road, and I just, so good. And then I remembered one time when I don't know if it was when they were on Road to Kingdom, or when he was on some show, but he and like, Jinho was like doing, like, asked Kino for advice or something, or like to sing, and Kino was like working on something in the background, and it was I remember now, it was when Gino like was in the practice room. They were in the practice room together, and Kino was recording, and then he did one of his magazine hosts. Yes, I remember this. And I think he at the time was on a solo show, competing for something, Breakers maybe. So that's why I thought of that. So, but I just remember like seeing him working on that, and I'm so proud of all of his work and everything that he's done. So tell me what you guys thought of the song. Did you love it? Did you hate it? And what do you think this kind of represents? Do you think that I'm on the right track with that? What else do you want to see from Kino? Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.